I'm getting ready to connect my Noco battery charger, which is down in the box here, and it charges 2 batteries at the same time, 10 amps total. So I'm getting ready to connect it, this AC plug here. I'm going to cut the end of it off, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect this cable to my AC electrical panel here, and that's the right side of this panel. And right now the AC power is on to this boat. So before I start, I'm going to have to disconnect the power, and so I'm going to shut this off here first. Shut the breakers off, and then I'm going to go out in the cockpit and unplug the power cord. Okay, I'm going to disconnect my power cord here, and the reason I'm going to unplug it here at the steering pedestal is for my wheel steering, and this is where the power goes into the boat. And the other end of this power cord connects to the dock box out on the dock. And I'm not going to disconnect it there because that could be dangerous. A neighbor might walk by and see my power cord unplugged and try to do me a favor and plug it in. And that could be a disaster. So I'm going to unplug it here. That way I know it's unplugged and no one should be able to get to it without me knowing it. Make sure it's all the way unscrewed. Otherwise it won't come loose. Okay, there we go. It just unplugs, and that's it. Just like that. So now I know that the power's off and everything's safe. Okay, next thing I need to do is open the panel up. I always hate doing this. I don't like I don't like tweaking wires around, and there's a bunch of them back here. So here's the panel. Here's the back of the panel. You can see there's a lot of wires in here, and then there's a couple bus bars in there. It's real dark in there. Okay, this is what's going on. I'm going to connect the starter battery charger to the AC panel here, and the previous owner had a battery charger in here. Matter of fact, it's still in here. It's inside this cabinet, and I just spent a lot of time trying to figure out the wiring in here. It's crazy, but I figured it out. I can see where the power comes in. So the breaker for his old battery charger is already connected, and I had disconnected the power cable from the charger itself a while back, and I couldn't remember what was what, but I figured it out. I had 3 wires in here, heavy gauge wires. I was having a hard time figuring it out, but I remember now. He had 2 lead acid starter and house battery combination batteries, and so one was to charge one bank, was 2 banks. So both of the batteries were lead acid, and they worked as a starter battery and a house battery, which is not real good. And so I figured out what those 3 wires are for, and that was to connect to his old batteries. And I did find the wiring that goes to the power supply for his old charger. So I'm going to now connect my new charger into those wires that go to the breaker for the battery charger. So I think I got it figured out now, and so I'm going to have to do some splicing here, and it looks actually a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. So any rate, so I'm going to get started on that now. This is the power cable for my new charger, and I'm going to have to cut this end off. So I'm going to splice it into the wiring that's already in there, and I'm hoping that this will cut it. It should. And how long is this? I better make it as long as I can. Cut it off right here. Oh, that was easy. Okay, so I cut the end off, and I got 3 wires in here. Black, white, and green. I'm going to take this wire right here is the wire that goes from the breaker. And this is the power source for the battery charger, for his old battery charger. I'm going to splice my new battery charger into this wire. And he just has a black and white wire. And he didn't have this battery charger grounded in here. And it's a metal case. And as a matter of fact, the case is totally removed. And it's all open circuitry just sticking out inside this box, inside this cabinet, way in the back. I mean, it's hard to get to, but that was a really bad safety hazard. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and splice in my my new battery charger to these 2 white and black wires here. And as far as the ground wire goes, I can connect it to the ground. I can go ahead and ground this to the bus bar. So here's my new charger wire that I just cut the end of it off. And here is the cable going from the breakers that went to the old charger. So this should be real easy to do. Here's my these wire strippers here. These things are really cool. They work really good. So all I have to do is I'll take the black wire first and put it in here. And I kind of like to push down on this one piece here because it doesn't grab too well. And just like that, it strips that wire. Twist it. So the black one's stripped. Now I'm going to do the white one. This is why you want marine grade wire. This copper wire is kind of tarnished here, so it's not marine grade. Marine grade wire is tinned, so it's got solder, basically solder on the entire wire, and then it's got the insulation on it. So that way it doesn't tarnish. It stays really nice and shiny. Oh, look what I found. I got some memory cloth. Maybe some sandpaper. Yep. Okay, at least I can clean these wires up now. Okay, got a little bit of this blue sandpaper. This will work. So I'm going to clean these wires. They're not looking too good. I may just go ahead and solder this. Well, that cleans right up nice. Looks a lot better. So I'm going to solder these wires together. And the reason I'm doing it like this is it just makes it easier to get in here and try to rewire it to the panels. Just there's so many wires on here. I'm afraid I'm going to knock something loose or cause something to short out, so I don't want to even risk that. So it's already wired in. I just need to connect them here. It's marine grade. The thing about marine grade shrink tube is it's got glue inside, and when it heats up, the glue melts, and then it creates a really nice watertight cover. Now, let's see, do I have, yes I do. I'm going to use my third hand here. These things are really handy. And they will hold wires for you when you solder. Even has a little magnifying glass. Okay, I just soldered the black wires together, and that's the hot wire, and it's also known as the wire of death. The black wire on AC electrical circuits is very dangerous. That's the one you don't want to touch if it's hot, okay? So whenever you're working on AC, make sure your power is completely off. Make sure that, like on this boat, I unplugged the shore power from the boat. So this boat is not connected to no AC power at all. And so that's super important because you don't want to kill yourself. So at any rate, I connected these 2 black wires together. So this wire here on this side, this one right here, is to my new battery charger. And this wire on this side is to my AC breaker panel. And so I have a switch, and a breaker switch on the panel that's for the battery charger. it was for his old battery charger the previous owner had wired in here. So I'm wiring now my new battery charger into this panel. And I decided to do it right here because it makes it easy to go straight onto the panel and hook it there. There's just no room in there. And I'm afraid I'm going to start damaging wires trying to do that. So I just decided to do it here. So I just went ahead and soldered it with my torch. I have a torch here. And it's a soldering iron that you can remove the tip and it becomes a torch. It runs on butane. And these things are really, really handy to have. And I put a piece of shrink tube over the solder joint that I just did. And I'm going to go ahead and use the torch. And I'm going to go ahead and shrink this shrink tube down. You heat it up and it shrinks around the solder joint. So it protects it from shorting out or anything touching it. And the neutral wire is going to be right next to it and the solder joint there. So I have another piece of tube that's going to go over that. And then I have another piece that's going to go over, hopefully it's still on there, I hope it didn't, yeah, it's on there. I have another shrink tube that's going to go over the whole thing just for extra protection, and it's marine grade. It's red in color, but it doesn't really matter. You really do want to kind of keep your colors correct, but this is in the middle of the cable that I'm doing the splice, so it'll just have a piece of red on there, and maybe I'll write on it and say battery charger. So now I'm going to twist these together. Let's see, wait a minute. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this one first. It'll be easier if I shrink this tube right now. So I'm going to heat up my torch. I'm just going to go ahead and heat up this shrink tube and let it shrink. Get it from all sides here. Okay, that looks good. So now that's protected. It's protecting it from coming in contact with anything, so it's covered up. And now I'm going to go ahead and solder this other side. I got the wires twisted together. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some solder on. So you want to heat up the solder, the copper that you're going to put the solder on first. Get that hot, good and hot, so that when all you have to do is just touch this solder wire to that heated up copper wire, and the solder will melt onto the joint. And that's the proper way to solder. You don't want to just start putting the solder on and heating at the same time. You want that joint hot first. So heat this up. I'm going to take the red shrink tube and cover the whole joint. So I've got the white wire connected to the white wire, soldered, and this green shrink tube over it. I didn't have any white shrink tube that would fit. It's too big. So I used green. Doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden under this other piece. Then I got the black wire connected to the black wire. That's the hot wire. And I got a piece of black shrink tube over that joint. So it's completely protected now. Anyway, there it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and heat this up and shrink this red marine grade shrink tube over the entire splice. And that should be it. Try not to burn my teak this time. So you just want to heat it around both sides, especially the ends. Make sure the ends get sealed good. That'll keep any moisture out. And I can see the glue coming out, oozing out of the shrink tube, which is good because that's marine grade. It's got glue in there that's heat activated. And so I'm just gonna continue to heat around. Make sure I get it all heated up all the way around. And this is looking good. Okay, that's good enough. And that's done. So now all I have to do, I'm going to close up my electrical panel. I don't have to get back in there for anything. And this is connected now. I'll just have to anchor this wire off some way in here. But that should be good. That should be good and safe. There shouldn't be a problem here. I probably should have left that red tube a little longer. I could have had a little more overlap on the ends, but I think I'm fine. It's marine grade, and it's on there about almost a ½ an inch on each end. So it should probably be more like 1 inch on each end to overlap with the shrink tube, just for extra protection. But there's no moisture is going to get into this joint. I mean, it's got 3 pieces of shrink tube on it, so that's good there. And so we're just going to let that go. Put the torch in a safe place because it's still hot. I'm going to go ahead and close up my electrical panel here. Everything's off. The breakers are off. Now, my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug the shore power into the boat. And then we'll come back in here and flip the breaker switch to the battery charger, and hopefully it'll turn on. And hopefully it won't burn up or something bad happen. All the switches are off on my electrical panel. The AC side shut down, the DC side is shut down. Of course, we're not even dealing with the DC right now. We're just working with the AC. And here's the battery switch here, battery charger. That's the breaker for it. And now we're going to go up and plug in the shore power. I'm going to connect the shore power now. So these plugs go in, and then they twist and lock, and then it has this ring that goes around, and that secures it so it can't get pulled out. And this is a little cover for it. When you take the cable off, you can cover this up and keep it dry. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay. Okay, moment of truth. I'm going to flip this switch, and when I flip this switch, hopefully the battery charger will come on. Ready? Keep your fingers crossed. Not good. It didn't come on. I have no idea why it did not come on. All right, hang on. Maybe, okay. I got to turn the main breaker on. I forgot about that. So I'm going to turn the main breaker on. That's these double switches here. So that now the AC side of the panel is activated. It has power. Now I'm going to turn on the battery charger switch, and hopefully the battery charger will come on. Nope. Yep, there it is. It came on, and my battery is charging. Let's see what happens here. Yep, there it goes. The first red light's coming on. Cool. So that makes it easy now. I can, before I had to open this, this is a seat that for my dinette, and I have to take the cushion off. You know, there's a piece of plywood that goes on top, and then the cushion. And then I had to pull the power cord out of for the charger and plug it into the power strip over here in the galley to charge my battery. Now it's all wired into the panel, and so all I have to do now is just turn on this battery switch right here, battery breaker, and that's all there is to it. And this charger can stay on all the time. It won't hurt the battery. So it's charging up my starter battery here. That's my starter battery. And then, whoa, there goes my door. Just what I need. And then that other gray box there, that's my Power Max charger for my lithium battery bank here. So that's a separate charger. That's 55 amps. So that's going to have to, I'm still going to have to pull the cover off of the seat here to charge it for now. Once I get my solar panels hooked up and my inverter hooked up and my wind generators hooked up, that'll be will be connected that way. So I have a SBMS. It's a balancer and it's a monitor. It monitors it'll monitor my lithium battery, and and it'll charge it. So it should be pretty hands-free when I get everything done. And so now the green light's on my Noco starter battery charger, and it's flashing, which means that the battery's almost completely full. It's just now just topping it off, a very slight charge. And once that green light stops flashing, then that means that the battery charger is completely charged. I wasn't real crazy about putting the charger down in here. It would have been nice if I could have mounted it on this bulkhead here somewhere so I could see it and see the lights on it and, you know, keep an eye on it. But there's just no room, and I didn't want to put it out here. It would have been too ugly. So it's okay where it's at. It should be fine. And so good. That's makes life a lot easier now. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe. The more subscribers and the more likes that I get on my videos, the more the YouTube algorithm puts me out there, so more people will see my videos. And when you start making YouTube videos on boat stuff like this, it takes a while to get it going. So the algorithm has to kind of figure you out and what you're doing. And then it figures out who your audience is and tries to direct your videos to those people. So, at any rate, and that's it.